To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.
So my dear children, in the earlier chapters we discussed all the theoretical parts related to the natural resources lesson. So now we are going to discuss about the questions related to the lesson part. So first of all, we'll be discussing the questions given in your textbook. So let's see what are the questions given then. So like in the previous lessons, my dear children, you are given with the first type of question. Now here you need to select the accurate answer or else the most suitable answer. Okay, right. Now let's see the questions then. So these are MCQ type questions, my dear children. You know that these things are MCQ type questions. So you have to select the correct or most accurate answer. Okay, right. So what can be a mineral out of those given below? A mineral out of those given below. Right. So you know that mineral is a substance which is made up with only one kind of a component, right? So when you take coal, my dear children, coal contains, coal is made up with plant and animal materials. So it is not going to be a mineral because there are large number of components which is contained within coal, my dear children. So we can't consider coal as a mineral. Okay, so it is incorrect. Then mineral oil, once again the same, no, mineral oil means petroleum, right? So petroleum can be considered as a, right, a substance which we obtain from plant and animal materials. Like it is same as coal, right? So when petroleum is getting solidified, coal is getting created, no? So both the things are same in here. So it is also incorrect. So gneiss, that is also a rock, right? That means, my dear children, it is also made up with several minerals. So our answer should be apatite. We studied that apatite is a mineral. Even apatite is found in Sri Lanka, right? So apatite is my answer. Next one. The uses of graphite are. So graphite is a good mineral that we can find in the crust of the planet Earth. Even in Sri Lanka, there are several places that has graphite, my dear children. So you know that graphite is mainly used in nanotechnology, right? To make nanomaterials. Other than that, manufacturing pencil rods, of course, graphite is being used in that case, right? Then manufacturing electrodes of electrical cells, once again it is correct. We discussed that thing when we are discussing about the graphite, right? Then using as a lubricant, that is also correct, right? By using graphite, because of the sliding nature or else slippery nature of graphite, right? You know that graphite is composed of graphene layers, and these graphene layers has the ability to slide past each other due to weaker bonds. So therefore, graphite has certain lubricative properties. Therefore, my dear children, graphite can be used as a lubricant. So all of these answers are correct. All of these answers are correct. Right, next one. Gems are valuable natural resource obtained from the earth of our country. Which one below is not a cause of its high value? So gems are valuable natural resources. Okay. So the question is being asked, which one below is not a cause for the high value? You know that gems are very valuable and it is also a mineral, right? So the question is being asked, for the high value, what is not a cause? Okay. Number one, it is beautiful. Of course, it is so true, no? So it is beautiful. That is why we are using it more often, and the value is also high, right? Because it is very beautiful. Second one given, hardness. Once again correct, right? Because of the hardness, my dear children, it's somewhat valuable. Then next one, rareness. Once again correct, no? It's very difficult to find. It's very rare. So it's very expensive. Next one, being a mineral. So even though it is a mineral, right? We know that it is a mineral, but however, it doesn't affect the expensiveness of the gem. right? So there are other minerals in our environment as well, right, other than gems. But however, those minerals are not that much valuable as these gems, my dear children. It's mainly because, right, the nature or else the mineral or not a mineral thing is not going to consider their value, right? But however, these factors definitely will decide the value or the expensiveness of the certain thing. So the answer which is not acceptable is being a mineral in here. Next one. What is the national gem of Sri Lanka? Very simple, my dear children. We know that the national gem of Sri Lanka is blue sapphire, right? So blue sapphire is the answer. Right. Which one is the order when graphite, gems and quartz are arranged in the descending order of their hardness? Descending order. So descending order means, my dear children, you have to select the right one which has the highest, okay, one which has the highest hardness first. You know that graphite can even be broken by applying a simple force, right? I mean, like when you take a pencil rod, you can even crush that thing by using your fingernails, right? By just using very small bit of a force, right? Just by crushing it with your pen or pencil, you can crush the graphite. Means it should be the one which has least or lowest hardness. However, diamond, you know that diamond and gems are the hardest materials, right? Out of that, diamond is the hardest one. Gems are somewhat lower than that. So according to the given here, according to the answers given here, gems should be, right, gems should be the hardest of them all, and quartz, that one should be at the middle, right? So descending order means from highest to lowest. So gems, quartz and graphite. Gems, quartz and graphite. This is incorrect. Gems, quartz and graphite, yes, the second one is the answer. Second is the answer. Right. Then the question number 6. So there is no such question now. We have to come to the second question then. So now here you need to write down the answers. So you have to write down short answers in here. The question asks, what are natural resources? So what are natural resources, my dear children? Very simple. Natural resources are the naturally occurring substances which are beneficial for man, right? Or else which are beneficial for the biosphere and organisms living in it. So naturally occurring, right, substances or things which are beneficial for the organisms can be simply referred as what? Natural resources. Okay, so we can write the answer. Naturally occurring which are beneficial for organisms. Called as natural resources. So naturally occurring components which are beneficial for organisms called as natural resources. Right, my dear children. Then the second question, let's see. Why scientists pay attention to water when they are search of life on a certain planet? So why does the scientist pay attention to water when they pay in search of life on a certain planet? Now you know that nowadays scientists are developing certain machines and certain exploring machines and rockets in order to conquer the space and in order to find out a world that is suitable for the human that is suitable for the survival of humans, right? So however, we haven't found a certain thing yet, but there are some evidences to prove that there are planets, but however, for sure we haven't found that kind of a planet yet. The first and foremost thing that scientists pay attention to is the presence of water, my dear children. What is the reason for it? Because can you remember, we are beings which are mainly composed of water, or we are living beings who are mainly doing our biological activities associated with water. So therefore, water is a very important component for our biological activities, right? So for our biological activities, water is an important component, right? A main component. Without water, right, organisms will not be able to live. So that is why scientists pay a main attention to find water in a certain planet, right? So we can write the answer. Organisms mainly carry out their biological activities so organisms mainly carry out their biological activities based on water. Therefore, without water, organisms will not be able to survive. So this is our answer. Organisms mainly carry out their biological activities based on water, my dear children. Okay. So therefore, without water, organisms will not be able to survive. So that is why scientists are paying main attention to find water in a certain planet. Okay. Next one. What is the purpose of building tanks or whatever in dry zone? Very simple, my dear children. The main idea of creation of a certain tank is to collect water in dry season, right? Or to collect rainwater and which can be utilized within the dry season. Okay. So that should be our answer. It helps to collect rainwater and which that can that collected water can be utilized within the dry season, okay, or dry within the within dry season within dry zone, my dear children. You know that rain is somewhat throughout the year the rain is receiving only for a certain time period, right, only for a shorter time period. Then the other time period is when you take the other time period, that area will not receive enough enough rain. So tanks are providing, right, a certain bit of a support to collect rainwater during the rainy season, and that rainwater can be utilized for their agricultural purposes and other purposes during when dry season comes. Okay, right. So my dear children, we'll write down the answer. It helps to collect rainwater which can be utilized in the dry season. Right. So it helps to collect rainwater which can be utilized in the dry season. So that's the main idea of creating a tank. Okay. Right. Question number 4. What is the type of water that exists in nature in its purest form? Water that exists in the purest form is rainwater, my dear children. If there is no air pollution, can you remember, if there are no any toxic substances or any other foreign materials like dust particles, sulfur dioxide, like that way, if there are no any substances, right, impure substances within the atmosphere, then purest form of water we receive is rainwater. Okay. However, in order to be pure, right, our atmosphere should be free of particles, right, foreign particles, and or else our atmosphere should be free from toxic substances, right? Okay, then we can write the answer, rainwater. Next one, mention 3 characteristics of pure water. 3 features of pure water. Very simple, my dear children. So when you're drinking water, right, you take drinking water, usually you definitely not feel a certain odor or else a smell. So if you are getting a certain smell, that means, my dear children, it's not pure, right? So that's a certain feature we can identify within pure water. So there is no odor. Within brackets, I'll mention as smell. Then no taste. And also there is no color. I'll mention as colorless, right? So no odor or else odorless, right? That is also correct. Then no taste, tasteless, and no color, colorless. These are some features that we can observe within the pure water, right? Okay, then next one. Is granite a mineral or a rock? Give reasons for your answer. Granite is a rock, my dear children. What is the reason? Granite is created when lava comes to the surface of the planet Earth, and when it is getting solidified, right, granite is getting created. Certain kind of a hardest rock that we can observe within the crust of the earth, right, granite. So you know that lava is created with different substances. So when that lava is getting solidified, granite is getting created. Okay. Therefore, my dear children, granite is also having, or it contains several components. So because of that, my dear children, granite cannot be taken as a mineral. In order to be a mineral, it should composed of only one component, right? So granite is a rock. What is the reason for it? Because granite is made up with several components. Okay, chemical composition has different components. So therefore, it is not considered as a mineral, but it is a rock, right? Okay, then we'll write down the answer. First of all, we need to mention as rock. Okay, rock. Then reason, because it is made up with several components. Because it is made up with several components. This is the answer, right? So as it is made up with several components, it is not a, right, it is not a rock. It is not a mineral, okay? It is a rock. Always remember, minerals are made up with only one substance or else one component. However, rocks are made up with several components, okay? Right. So it is a rock because it is made up with several components. Right then, question number 7. What is the special property of gems that leads to its separation method of sifting? Why we can sift and remove gem? It's mainly because, my dear children, density of the gems are very high, right? When you take gems, gems have very high density. So if the density is high, they will go to the bottom of a certain thing, right? And others are getting separated to the top. So by that difference, we can separate gems. That's why by sifting, we can remove these gems from gem ores. Okay, they will deposit at the bottom and all the other substances are getting removed. Okay, right then. So we'll write down the answer. Because gems have a higher density right. So gems have higher density. That's the myth. That's why we can separate gems by the gem ores, my dear children. Okay. Next one, mention 3 adverse effects to the environment caused by the gem industry. 3 adverse effects. Very simple, my dear children. These are mines, no? So when mining these things, what will happen? Soil erosion will occur. So soil erosion. Then spread of diseases. Due to collection of water. Example, dengue, malaria, right? So spread of diseases due to collection of water, example dengue and malaria. Then next one, landslides. Landslides may occur due to irregular mining. Right? So soil erosion, then spread of diseases due to collection of water, then landslides may occur due to irregular mining, right? So these are several, right, environmental problems that can occur due to gem industry. Okay, right then. Question number 9. What is the plant in Sri Lanka that a maximum number of users can be obtained from? Mention 5 plant parts of it and their users. Okay. So, my dear children, when you take the plant coconut, we receive several uses from coconuts. Actually, when you take coconut, my dear children, each and every plant part of the coconut tree is utilized for, right? I mean, like several purposes, not for one, but for several purposes. Okay. When you take the stem of the coconut tree, we use stem of the coconut tree in making roofing materials, right? In making roofing materials, we use coconut stem of the coconut plant. Okay. Roofing materials means the wood of coconut, my dear children. To make the roofs, we apply these coconut stems, the wood of the coconut stem, right? And on that, we place the roofing sheets or any other. Okay. Then, my dear children, when you take the stem, sometimes the stem is applied to floors by polishing and cutting, right? They are used as substitutes for tiles. Okay. Then sometimes by polishing and cutting, these things are being applied to staircases, for the handles of these staircases. Okay. So some uses of coconut stem, right? Stem means the wood, the hardwood. Then next one would be, my dear children, if you take the flower, coconut flower. So you know that coconut flower, we take the phloem sap of coconut flower. Phloem sap means the solution, the sugar solution which is coming out from the flower of the coconut. You can, introduce a small cut into the coconut flower, right? Then you fix a certain kind of a cloth and you keep a certain vessel. Then the sap which is coming out from the flower is getting collected to the vessel. We collect that vessel and we can make jaggery and sometimes vinegar, right? If you ferment it even more, then we can create jaggery, right? And also, if you can first of all, we can make jaggery, my dear children. Then if you can ferment it even more, you can create alcohol and as well as vinegar. Okay. Then, my dear children, when you take the small leaves, the coconut leaves, I mean, it's not a branch actually, right? The entire coconut leaves, it can be used as a good fuel, right? It can be used as a good fuel. Then other than that, sometimes these coconut leaves are used actually during the ancient times. We can see these kinds of houses, right? So during the ancient time, but in the modern times, my dear children, mostly we use different other artificial materials. But in the earlier times, my dear children, this coconut leaf has been used in order to make roofing materials. Roofing materials means as sheets. In order to cover the roof, we have used, the leaves have the smaller leaves or the leaflets are arranged into a certain pattern and we cover the roof by using it. Okay. Even for today, in some festivals, we develop certain patterns and designs by using coconut leaves and coconut leaflets. Okay. Then other than that, my dear children, you know that fruit of the coconut or the seed, right? When you take the coconut fruit or the seed, we use the coconut seed and we remove, or we use the coconut fruit and we can remove the interior part, the white area, and we use that in making our meals and other stuff. Okay. And also to prepare some flavorings and also in making some food items, special food items like desserts, right? We can use this coconut milk, right, which is obtained from the coconut fruit or the seed, right? And also, my dear children, the coconut seed or the coconut fruit can be used in making certain designs. Okay, making certain designs and in making certain ornaments. Then, my dear children, when you take the coconut husks, we use coconut husk in rope industry, coir rope industry, right? I think you have learned that thing within the first lesson when we are discussing about the benefits of microorganisms. Over there we discussed separation of fibers, and these fibers can be used in coir industry. So coconut fibers can be used to coir industry, my dear children. Then, my dear children, when you take the coconut shells are used in making beautiful ornaments. Then other than that, sometimes means actually during the ancient times, most of the times, my dear children, the coconut shell is being used as cup for drinking water or tea or any other beverage, right? During the earlier times, that was our cup, right? Nowadays also in certain rural areas, these things are being moderately used, not that much, but moderately being used. Okay, shells, coconut shells can be used as cups. Then for making different ornaments and festival decorations, in that case also we use these coconut shells. Okay, so these are several parts of coconut tree, my dear children, and their particular uses. So I think this space is not enough, so I'll use the bottom space over here. So this is question number 9. So we'll write down the answer for the question number 9 then. So I'll use a table, so it would be more easier to see. So my dear children, this is question number 9. Okay, our answer should be coconut plant or else coconut tree. We'll mention as coconut tree. So I'll take this somewhat down. This is the answer, coconut tree, right? Question number 9. Then part of plant, and here the use, right? So here within the table, my dear children, I am mentioning the part of the plant and the use. So coconut plant is the, or coconut tree is the main plant or the tree that we utilize several parts in our day-to-day life. Okay, so you have to mention 5 of those parts. So my dear children, first of all we'll mention the fruit or the seed. So we use this thing in to obtain coconut milk. In cooking, right? Or else used in cooking. That's more probable, no? To be used in cooking, right? So fruit or the seed to obtain coconut milk to be used in cooking. Then next one, I'll be mentioning only one use, my dear children, but there are other several uses as well. So I have mentioned that thing earlier, right? Okay, next one. wood or else the stem to be used in roofing materials. Right, to be used in roofing materials. Next one. Coconut husks in coir rope industry. In coir rope, right? Coir rope, right? COIR. So in coir rope industry, coconut husks. Then, my dear children, coconut shells. In making decorations. Right? In making decorations. Then coconut flower. To obtain sap and to produce jaggery, vinegar. Right. So these are several parts. There are 5 parts, my dear children. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So question is being asked to write down 5, right? Yes. Mention 5 plant parts and their users. So these are 5 parts with users, my dear children. Okay. So what are those 5 parts? Coconut fruit or the seed to obtain coconut milk to be used in cooking, right? Other than that, there are other purposes as well, but I have written down the main one which we Sri Lankan use. Okay. Then the wood or the stem, it is used in roofing materials, right? To make the roofing materials, like in the infrastructure of the roof, we use this coconut wood. Next one, coconut husks in coir rope industry, coconut husks. Then coconut shells in making decorations, several decorations. Then coconut flower to obtain sap and to produce jaggery and vinegar. Okay. So these are 5 parts in coconut plant, my dear children, or in coconut tree, which we can utilize in making different things and in getting several advantages. Okay. Right. Then we'll see the question number 10. So 10th question. Mention one specific use that can be obtained from each of the following types of timber. Right. Once again, we'll use a table like this. Right. So this is question number 10, my dear children. We'll use a table L and we will answer. Right. question number 10. We'll draw a table and we'll answer. Okay, so here plant, right? Okay, it's not the plant, it should be timber, right? So we'll mention as timber. Then use. Is it a use or else a feature? Let's see the question once more. Then specific use. So you have to mention a use, my dear children. So Egerwood, Parimara, Alexandrian laurel or else Domba, Rukkattana, Persian lilac. Okay. So we'll mention the plants then. Egerwood, then Parimara, Alexandrian laurel or else Domba. I'll mention as Domba. Okay. So Parimara, Domba and Rukkattana. Then what are the others? Rukkattana, then Persian lilac. Persian lilac. Persian lilac. Okay. Okay, so these are the ones. Then we'll mention the use, my dear children. So the use of first and foremost agar wood. Agar wood is being used to make different chemicals. Okay, chemicals in the sense to make perfumes. We use this thing. Okay, to make perfumes. So it contains different substances, different special chemicals. So therefore, it is used in making perfumes. So you have to mention a use. So we have to. So they are mentioning not a property, my dear children. See the question once more. One specific use. Okay. So we have to mention a use over here. So we'll write down the use then. To make certain chemicals. To make certain chemicals. Right? Next one. Parimara. So Parimara, right, when you take that one, so it has a light weight, my dear children. Right? Parimara, it has a very light weight. And other thing is that it is providing a good sonority. The sonorousness of the Parimara wood is high. So therefore, this thing is used in making Rabana, in making the frames of Rabana, right? So in making frame of Raban. Right, in making frames of Raban. Next one, Dober. You know that Dober is resistant to vibrations and it's not twisting, right? So therefore, this is a very strong one. So to make poles of, right, make poles or mats, okay, masts of certain yachts, we use this Dober plant, right, or the wood. So to make masts, okay. Next one, Rukkattana. Rukkattana is lightweight. So as it is lightweight, it can be used to make masks, right? To make cultural masks. Then Persian lilac. Persian lilac is also lightweight, so therefore this is used in roofing materials and in making ceilings, okay. So in making ceilings. So several uses that we obtain from given timber types. Agarwood to make certain chemicals, Parimara in making frames of Rabana, Domba to make mats, then Rukkattana to make cultural masks, then Persian lilac in making ceilings, right, ceilings, right. Right, so these are several timber that we used in day-to-day life, my dear children. Actually in our Sri Lanka or Sri Lankan people use these kinds of timber in making these kinds of or in getting these kinds of uses, okay. Right then, so we'll head on to see the next question. Question number 11. Write one difference that you can observe between heartwood and alburnum of the stem of a plant. Heartwood is the, right, so when you take the heartwood, it's like this. If you take this is the stem, then my dear children, heartwood is located within the structure like this, within the stem like this. This is the heartwood, okay. So I can name this thing. This is the alburnum, right. This part is the alburnum, and my dear children, this part is the heartwood. Okay. Then my dear children, when you take the hardwood has a higher strength than the alburnum, right? It is the toughest part of the timber. So strength of the mechanical strength of the hardwood is higher than the alburnum part, right? So that's a difference. So we can write hardwood is more stronger, right? Hardwood is more stronger than the alburnum. This is the difference, my dear children. Okay, this is the difference. So here it's getting somewhat it's getting somewhat trouble with the answer now. So I'll erase this thing and I'll take the alburnum thing to bottom. It's more convenient now. So here I'll take the alburnum thing to here, my dear children. Heartwood. Okay, so this is the heartwood. Okay, now it's good. So heartwood is more stronger, right? Heartwood is more stronger than the alburnum. This is the answer, my dear children. Okay, right. Persian lilac, Lunumidilla, timber floats on water while ebony timber sink. Thus arrange the Persian lilac, timber, ebony timber and water according to the ascending order of their densities. Right. Density, right, is the mass contained within unit volume. Mass contained within unit volume. When the density is high in a material, my dear children, right, if the density is high, then it always tries to go bottom, not to the top but to the bottom. Okay, when you put a certain thing into a certain solution or else to a container, if it is going to the bottom, that means that component or that substance has a greater density than the solution. So in here the ebony is going to, right, ebony is going to, right, I mean like when you put ebony wood into a container, it goes down or it sinks into the water, which means ebony has a high density than water, my dear children. It has a high density than water. So therefore, my dear children, density of ebony is very high. Density of water is somewhat low than that. When you take Lunumidella, when you put Lunumidella into it, or Persian lilac, what will happen? It will float. That means water has high density, but Lunumidella do not have a higher density. That is why it is not going down. Right? Always remember, if the density is high, then it is sinking. Okay, then it is sinking. So my dear children, you can arrange these densities according to ascending order. Ascending means from the smallest one to the highest. So ebony has the highest. Then water is the second highest. Then lowest is Persian lilac. So this is the order. Always remember, if it flows, right, if it floats, then the density is less. If it sinks, then the density is high. So they are mentioning that Persian lilac is floats on water while ebony timber sinks. So ebony has the high density, water has the second highest density, then Persian lilac has the lowest density. So then ascending order is Persian lilac, water and ebony. Right then, so my dear children, we have answered all the questions in the textbook then. Now it's time to discuss several other types of questions, but first of all we'll be discussing several MCQ questions in here. Okay, so we'll write down some answers after that. First of all, we'll discuss several MCQ type questions in the extra questions part. Okay, so let's see what are the questions given. Select the natural resource out of the given. So the natural resource out of the given: minerals and salts, polythene, construction buildings, human settlements. The natural resource, my dear children, it should be natural. So when selecting natural resource, you have to select a naturally occurring thing. So minerals and salts are naturally occurring. Okay. So our answer should be minerals and salts. Polythene is artificial, that means man-made. Then construction buildings, once again man-made. Human settlements, once again artificial, right? Next one. A rock is sometimes made by only one mineral. It's usually a collection of minerals. Gneiss, granite, limestone, quartz are some examples. So you know that gneiss is a good example for a rock. Then granite is also. Limestone is also a type of a rock and same as quartz. Okay, we discussed those things. But you know that quartz and limestones are made up with only one component. That means it can be considered as a mineral even. So, sometimes made by only one mineral. Correct, no problem. It is usually a collection of minerals. Absolutely correct. These are examples. Then all of these statements are true, my dear children. This should be our answer. Okay, a rock is a certain thing which is made by sometimes only one mineral. Then it is usually a collection of minerals. Then gneiss, then granite, then limestone and quartz are some example. Right? Gneiss, granite and limestone are some examples. No problem. Okay, and also remember limestone and quartz are made up with only one mineral. Okay, gneiss and granite, those things are rocks made up with several minerals. Okay, right. Then the question number 2. Question number 3. Not a natural resource. Minerals, houses, sea, rocks. Very simple, my dear children. Minerals, sea and rocks, all of these things are naturally occurring. So therefore, houses cannot be taken as a natural resource, right? It's not a natural resource. Reservoir or water body that is constructed by building a dam across a river is called river, pond, waterfall, tank or whatever. Actually, the reservoir or else a water body which is constructed by building a dam across a river or else a stream is referred as a tank or else weber. In here we collect rainwater or else by the river by covering a certain river, we collect the water which is coming from the river and we utilize that thing in dry zone. Okay, dry season. So tank is the correct answer. Tank. Next one, question number 5. Place in Sri Lanka where ilmenite is found. Ilmenite. Okay. Kandy, Eppavela, Dambulla, Pulmude. Right. So what is the answer, my dear children? Where we can find ilmenite. So ilmenite is found in Pulmude, my dear children. In Eppavela, we can find apatite, right? Right, apatite. So Pulmude is the correct answer. Pulmude. Right, then the next question, question number 6. Example for a mineral. Granite, gneiss, limestone, feldspar. So granite is not an example for a mineral. Gneiss is correct. Limestone. Now limestone is correct actually. It is made up with just one component. But out of the given ones, we have to choose the most accurate one. So my dear children, we have to select feldspar. Right? Feldspar is the most accurate one because it is a good mineral. No problem in it. Okay? It's a good mineral. Feldspar should be our answer. So question number 6 is, answer for the question number 6 is feldspar. Right, then the next one, question number 7. Bogala mine in Sri Lanka has, very simple my dear children, graphite. In Bogala mine we can identify graphite. There is graphite in Bogala mine. Okay. Right, then the next one, question number 8. Not a characteristic of gems. Attractive color. Yes, it is a good characteristic. Resistant to wear off. That is correct. That is what do you mean by hardness, right? So it is correct. High refractive index. Correct once again. Brittleness? No, brittleness is not a feature of gems. It is very hard. Brittleness means, my dear children, breaking down into smaller pieces when a small force is given. So it's not brittle. So it is incorrect. Right. Then question number 9. Material that can damage apatite. Material that can damage apatite. So you have given with the hardness index, my dear children. So choose apatite. So apatite is in 5 or in 5th place, which means the hardness index is 5. So you have to select a certain thing which has greater, right, which has greater hardness index than the apatite. Means it should be quartz, topaz, corundum or diamond. So fluorite, okay, gypsum, okay, then calcite, okay, then feldspar. So when you look at feldspar, my dear children, it has the hardness index of 6. However, calcite 3, gypsum 2, fluorite 4. So to harm apatite, it should be having greater hardness index than the apatite. So feldspar is our answer, feldspar. Because apatite is 5, feldspar is 6. So feldspar can damage apatite. Next one. Material that can damage diamond. Diamond is in the 10th place, no. Hardness index is exactly 10. So what can harm diamond? Corundum, no. Talc, no. Quartz, no. Then, my dear children, in order to damage diamond, you know that we have to use diamond itself. That's how we, used to, cut and polish diamond. Sometimes we use lasers or sometimes we use diamond itself, right? So our answer should be diamond. Right, question number 11 then. Gems acquire their characteristic color because of pure substances in them, impure traces trapped inside them, high refractive index having different gem crystals inside. Gems acquire their characteristic color because of, my dear children, the impurities mixed with the gem. So impurities are the ones which is giving that unique characteristic color. So our answer should be because of the impure traces trapped inside the gem, right? This should be the answer. Right, next one. National gem of Sri Lanka is, once again, it's very simple. Blue sapphire is the national gem. Blue sapphire, right? Blue sapphire is the national gem of Sri Lanka. Right, question number 13 then. Bisoko Tour has been designed. So it is the water catchment area for the tank. No, that's the head wall. It helps to clean the water in the tank. No. It draw out water away from the tank at a less pressure. That's the correct answer. To draw out water away from the tank at a less pressure, my dear children. It helps to reduce the pressure created when drawing out water from the tank. Okay, Bisoko Tour. Next one. Elements contained in water and the ratio respectively. So water, a main natural resource. If you write down the chemical composition, then it's H2O. So it contains two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom, H2O. So elemental composition is hydrogen and oxygen, but to the ratio of 2:1. Okay, 2:1. So 2:1 is the answer, Elemental composition is hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen and oxygen 2:1. Question part C is the answer, or else C response should be our answer. Hydrogen and oxygen elemental composition, and the ratio is 2:1, right? 2:1. Right. Then question number 15. In blank, copper ore is found. Copper ore is found in Seruvilla. Can you remember when we are discussing about that map? We discussed that within Seruvilla we can identify copper deposits. Okay, like I said, Sri Lanka is a very valuable country with several minerals and several valuable things. Okay, natural resources. But the thing is that, my dear children, we are exporting these things in the raw material state. We are not giving out any value added, right? We are not giving out any, after effect or else a value added thing to these raw materials. That means we are not making any certain kind of a product. We are not making any production. So if we can make out a certain production from these raw materials, then the value of those things will be very high in the commercial market. Okay, however, still we are not developing or we are not doing such things. Still we are exporting these things in raw material stage. Okay, right. Then mineral which is exported by Sri Lanka that used in making nanomaterials. So very simple, my dear children. Nanomaterials, to make nanomaterials, the main mineral that we use is graphite. Okay, so go for the answer, graphite. Yes, graphite is the answer. So we export graphite. Especially Sri Lanka is the most important country of all that export quality graphite. Okay, so Sri Lanka export graphite, right, which to be used in making nanomaterials to the international market, right? Then question number 17. The deposits of gems and other pieces of rocks is called the deposit of gems and other pieces of rocks. That means it has gems and other pieces of rocks. So this is referring to the Illamma, right? Illamma. So by digging out the Illamma, by separating the Illamma, we receive the gems. That's right. We are going to receive the gems. So my dear children, Illamma should be the answer. It is given in the fourth response. Next one. Separation technique used in separating gems. Very simple, my dear children. It's not filtering. It's not directing into a stream of water. It's not magnetic separation, but sifting is the correct answer. So we use a sifter, right? And we sift the Illamma to obtain gems. Because gems has a high density. So therefore, we can sift gems by using a sifter, and we can obtain gems in gem mines. Next one, question number 19 then. The physical property of gems which is used in separation. The physical property, can you remember? We discussed that when you take a certain gem, it has a very high density, not the mass, my dear children. The density is the correct one in here. It has a very high density. So when increasing the density, what will happen? Automatically, gems will go to the bottom and the other materials come the top. By that way we can separate. Okay, so go for the answer that has high density. Yes, in the fourth one you can observe the high density. Actually, my dear children, heavy mass cannot be taken as a good answer, because not only the mass for the density, but the volume also should be considered. Even though a material is having heavy mass, right, sometimes that material will not have a high density. It's because the volume which the material is going to spread may be high. So if it has a very high volume, then the density is getting decreased. Okay, so we can't decide whether a material has a high density only by considering the mass. We have to consider the volume as well, right? That's why we have to go for the answer high density, not the mass, remember. Okay, next one, question number 20th. instance where the value of a material increases when mixing impurities in rocks, in minerals, in diamond, in gems. So can you remember when we are answering the questions previously, right? There was a question, why gems are having an attractive color? Because of the impurities, right? Trace impurities mixed with them. So the unique color can be observed because of that. Okay, my dear children. So in here, we have to select the answer, right? Which is giving out what? Instance where a value of material increases when mixing impurities. So which one is our answer? Our answer is in gems, my dear children. In gems, you know, when mixing impurities, it is giving out a good attractive color. Okay, so in gems, that should be our answer for the question number 20th. Then the next one, 21st. The figure shows, when you see the figure, it's like a cat's eye, right? Very clear to us. So this is the cat's eye gem. Yes, first and foremost one is correct. Next one. Environmental problem caused due to gem mining. Environmental problem. Reduction of crop production. Deterioration of educational status among students. Collapsing of river banks. Above all. Now, my dear children, I think all of these things are correct, right? So you might go for the answer which called as the above all. If you go for that, then your answer is incorrect. Why is that? Because read out the question very well. They are asking about an environmental problem. Environmental problem. That means it should be a problem related to the environment, not with any other. So, reduction of crop production, that is affected with the agriculture, not with the environment. It's not an environmental problem, right? It's not an environmental problem. See, deterioration of educational states, that's a social problem. It's not an environmental problem. Then, my dear children, this is the environmental problem. Collapsing of river banks. Because of that, rivers will get wider and the environment will get eroded. I mean, the soil will get eroded. Plants sometimes will come down or landslides will occur. Like that way, several environmental problems can create because of this case then. So, sometimes you might go for the answer above all, but however, that's not the true answer. That's not the accurate answer. Here they are specially mentioning about an environmental problem. So you have to select an environmental problem, not a social one or any other. Okay. So our correct answer should be collapsing of river banks, my dear children. Collapsing of river banks. Okay. Next one, question number 23. A plant that is used to get special chemicals. Very simple, my dear children. To get special chemicals, like to be used in perfumes, we use the plant called agarwood, right? Or Wallapatta, right? So, coconut plant, rubber, ranavara, from within those things also there are special chemicals, but very special chemicals can be obtained from agarwood. Next one. Pinus is widely used to make pinus, manufacture paper, chemicals and medicine, spices, beauty cultural substances. So, pinus is a good plant which we used in manufacturing of paper, my dear children, to manufacture paper, because pinus has good amount of fibers. So, therefore, we use that thing in making paper. Right, then the question number 25th. Special characteristic of timber. Resistant to heat. Correct. Durability. Once again correct. Having attractive patterns. Again correct. No. That's why we use these things in our, when you take the tiling materials. As a substitute for a tile, we use sometimes these wooden or timber materials, my dear children. It's because it has a good pattern, right? So all of these things, the resistant to heat, durability and having attractive patterns, all of these things are special features of timber. Next one, the bridge which is located at Haliyala, Badulla was created by Jack and Miller, Ebony and Jack, Ebony and Miller, Jack and Kubuk, right? So here 26th, there is a certain bridge in Haliyala, right, Badulla, which was like around 400 years old, right? So this bridge is totally made up with wood. Even the nails are made up with wood. Okay, here we use the two items, so the two timbers, right? The main two timbers which used here is Jack and Kubuk, right? Jack and Kubuk. And there are another two plants or another two timbers which used in carvings. So those two are Ebony and Mill. But however, they are asking about the construction, right? Or the creation. So that was created by using Jack and Kubuk. Okay, right. Question number 27 then. Main reason for decaying timber, growing fungi, growing algae, getting diseases above all. Main reason for the decaying of timber is the growth of fungi, right? Growth of fungi. The important factor needed for the decaying of timber, fungi and algae, sunlight, chemicals, moisture. The most important factor needed for the decaying of timber is, my dear children, moisture. When there is plenty of moisture, what will happen? Fungi will grow excessively, or else they have the good environmental conditions to grow, right? So because of that, what will happen, right? Here the timber will decay very quickly. Okay, so our answer should be moisture. Moisture is the main factor which helps for the growth of fungi. Okay. Then the question number 29. The figure shows Jack timber, Nadun timber, Ebony, Kubuk. When you check this figure, my dear children, you can clearly observe the hardwood of the plant. Right, hardwood of the plant, or hardwood is in black color. So this is a quite good nature or quite good feature that we can observe within the ebony plant or the ebony tree. That's why it is so much expensive, because of the attractive color, my dear children. It has a quite unique color than the others. Okay, so our answer for this thing should be, because of this blackish nature, right? This is why the ebony tree or the hardwood of ebony is so much luxurious, right? So our answer should be ebony. This is the ebony timber. Next one, method of preventing the decaying of timber. Prevention of absorbing moisture into timber. Usage of wood preservatives. Seasoning of timber. So to prevent decaying timber, we can prevent absorbing moisture into timber. Correct, no problem. Usage of wood preservatives. By that way we avoid, right, the contact of fungi with wood timber. So it is correct. Then seasoning of timber. Once again correct, no. By seasoning, my dear children, we avoid the contact of moisture, getting moisture with the timber. So by that way we can reduce the action of fungi or else microorganisms. So therefore all of these actions can be taken as examples to prevent decaying of timber, right? Okay, then question number 31. Method in prevention of absorbing moisture into timber. How we can prevent the absorption of moisture? Okay, number 1, applying wood preservatives. applying paints, applying fungicides, applying chemicals, applying wood preservatives. By applying wood preservatives, actually we are going to protect the wood, right, by fungi, or we protect it from fungi or else from microorganisms like termites or weevils, okay, by applying certain chemicals and preservatives. By applying paints, my dear children, however, we avoid the absorption of moisture into the wood, right? So that is how we avoid the absorption of moisture. That's why even the school desks and chairs is applied with paint in order to avoid the contact of moisture or the absorption of moisture with the certain surface. So the correct answer would be applying paints, method of prevention of absorbing moisture. Next one, when seasoning of timber prevents from decaying, moisture content is reduced below 20%, allowing timber to dry slowly in controlled conditions. So when seasoning timber, my dear children, of course it prevents from decaying. That's the whole idea of seasoning. Moisture content is reduced below 20%. Correct, right? Actually, we are reducing the moisture percentage by the seasoning process. So it is correct, no problem. Next one, allowing timber to dry slowly in controlled conditions. Once again, correct, no? By drying out, we are going to minimize the moisture content within the timber. So it is correct, no problem. So all of these things are correct responses, right? When seasoning, we can observe all of these steps. Right then, the next question. Creosote is extracted from chemicals, minerals, rocks, coal. So creosote is obtained from coal, my dear children, right? Coal. Next one. Sleepers on railway line are long lasting because seasoned with chemicals, applied with oil, dried under controlled conditions, applied with fungicides. So, sleepers on the railway lines are long lasting because seasoned with chemicals, right? It is applied with oil, it is dried under controlled conditions, and it is applied with fungicide. So what is the correct answer in here, right? Actually, these sleepers in railway and also telephone posts which are made up of wood. So in here, my dear children, right, these things are being seasoned very well with chemicals. The above chemical, creosote, is the one which we used in here. So seasoned with chemicals. That should be our correct answer. Right, next one. Boron treatment is done for the longer life of rubber, ebony, jack, all the above. So mainly we use rubber, my dear children. Boron treatment mainly carried out for rubber, right? Macroorganism that harms timber, fungi, termites, algae, all the above. Macroorganism, not micro. So termites. Termites should be the answer. Termites are macro, means that we can observe those organisms from our naked eye, right? So, however, fungi and algae cannot be considered as macroorganisms, okay? Next one. Select the incorrect statement. Rubber timber is protected by applying chemicals usually. Rubber timber is protected by applying chemicals usually. Ebony has a black hardwood. Jack is having good durability. When moisture is removed from timber, fungi grows well. So my dear children, when you look at these responses, it's quite obvious. The answer is quite obvious. When you check the fourth one, the moisture is removed from timber, fungi grows well. Totally incorrect, no? Right? Why is that? In order to grow fungi, actually, in order to grow fungi, this moisture is very important. Moisture is quite important to grow for the growth of microorganisms. So for fungi, moisture is pretty much important factor. So when removing water from timber, fungi does not grow well. So this should be the incorrect answer. Next one, select the correct statement. Fungi does not affect the decaying of timber. Incorrect. Alexandrite emit green color in natural light and red color in artificial light. Refractive index of diamond is less than glass. Diseases like dengue will not spread by abundant gem pits. So the correct one, my dear children. Alexandrite is an gem which can emit green color in natural and red color in artificial. However, sometimes the colors will mixed up for you guys. Okay. So in that case, you don't know for sure whether that one is correct or not. Then in that case, what you have to do? Go for the others and check whether those things are correct or incorrect. You keep the doubtful one in the same way. Go for the others. Let's see the other one, third one. Refractive index of diamond is less than glass. Totally incorrect. Diamond is the one which has the highest refractive index. Next one. Diseases like dengue will not spread by abundant gem pits. Once again, incorrect, no. Dengue will definitely spread because of the abundant gem pits, because upon collection of water, right? So therefore, my dear children, the correct answer for this thing should be, now we know that fungi does not affect the decaying of timber. That statement is totally incorrect. Fungi is the main reason. Refractive index of diamond is less. No, it's not less, it is more. Diseases like dengue is going to spread. So all of A, C and D incorrect. That means our correct answer definitely should be what? Second one. Okay. Actually, alexandrite is a type of a gem that can emit green color in natural light and red in artificial light. Next one. Not a sustainable practice of using natural resources. Using rainwater as much as we can. It's a sustainable practice. Refrain from irregular mining. Once again, a sustainable practice. Cutting trees as much as we can to obtain good timber. That is not a sustainable practice. It's going to devastate the environment. So it's not a sustainable practice, my dear children. So our correct answer should be C. Let's go for the other one. Minimizing deforestation and protecting plants. That is also a sustainable practice. In the 40th and the last MCQ question. Sustainable practice of using natural resources. The opposite of the other one. Right? Using chemicals as much as we can to protect timber. Chemicals. So if you are using chemicals, then it is not a good sustainable practice, my dear children. Chemicals are quite dangerous and it's going to create several other side effects to the environment and as well as for the organisms as well, right? So B, mining gems excessively. Excessively. So if anything is doing excessively, then it's not good for the environment and it is not a good sustainable practice, right? Encouraging youngsters to engage in gem industry. Totally incorrect. If youngsters are coming into a certain field, then the educational, right? The educational background will definitely decline. We should encourage not youngsters, but the youth. Youth means actually the ones who are looking for a certain job, right? The ones who are staying at the houses looking for a job, those guys could encourage to engage in these works. Okay, not the youngsters. They should learn and they should educate well first. Okay. So this is also incorrect. It will create certain social problems. Next one. Recycling and reuse of water during agriculture. That is a good sustainable practice. Recycling and reusing of water during the agriculture. It will also help to minimize the water wastage, right? Okay, my dear children. So we have answered 40 MCQ questions under the extra questions part. So within our next chapter, we'll discuss the other types of questions, which are the essay type questions, right? We have to answer the correct ones. right? We have write down the correct answer for the given questions in essay type questions, right? So we'll continue with the essay type questions in our next chapter. Okay.
To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.